Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome everyone to Answers for Elders Radio Network, and it's the month of April. And it's interesting because you as a listener may not realize it, but each month, Answers for Elders does a specific theme. And we're very excited that every month we feature experts that are in various areas of expertise. And I thought to myself, this last year, I was thinking to myself, we need to highlight some really high profile, amazing specialists every month in the area of expertise. And the theme for April, and what you're going to hear on our show for the next 30 days or whatever during the weekends, is aging in place. We happen to know absolutely that there are so many people, vast majority, that prefer to stay home as they age. And believe it or not, those of us in the industry want you to. We want you to be safe at home. And so we're so honored to have our very first high-profile, amazing expert for the month of April, which we are calling the Specialist Spotlight. And we are going to be spotlighting this month Dr. Jill Bjerke. And Dr. Jill, you are the creator of Silver Spaces. You're an aging in place expert. You do amazing things for seniors to help them stay in their homes. And welcome to Answers for Elders.
I appreciate being here. It's so nice to be able to share all this information.
Well, it is. And obviously, we talk about aging in place. Why don't we start there, Dr. Jill, about what is aging in place?
Aging in place is different than people think. It's not, I'm going to live in my home forever.
Right.
There are a lot of decisions that have to be made. The biggest ones are things like finance, transportation, health, socialization. All of those things you need to think about either at retirement, before retirement. What am I going to do about my finances? I'm still going to have maintenance on my house. I'm still going to have to pay someone to shovel my snow. How's my health? Is it good enough for me to stay home, or will it deteriorate in the future? What if I can't drive? How am I going to get places? How am I going to get to church, get my hair cut, whatever? What options are there? Are there senior services in your town? And then obviously socialization. That's the biggest barrier to aging in place, is becoming isolated. So how can you avoid that? Is your church close enough where you can walk? Do you play bingo? Do you play cards? Can you get there? Can someone pick you up? Meeting with other people is absolutely vital to longevity.
And you're talking about all these things. And one of the things I think we need to emphasize is this should be in conversation with a married couple, or a not necessarily married, any sort of couple or people, of what are your plans for aging? I think a lot of times those in their 50s, they may be, empty nesters. Late 50s, their kids are grown up, they're in a big house, they're in a situation where, how are we going to live out the rest of our years? And a lot of that planning needs to be including the idea that we are going to age. That's true?
It really should start when you're thinking ahead about retirement. Because that's the time to think about, okay, I have time to make this decision. Rather than when you get to your 70s or 80s and now all of a sudden it becomes, can I stay here?
Yeah.
Even at the retirement area, those 4 areas that I mentioned, health, transportation, socialization, and everything, you need to think about that before, really a retirement is a good time. How old is my home? What is my neighborhood like? Is it deteriorated? Is it better?
Is my home able to keep me safe? Because a lot of times, if you're living in a big house, there's all kinds of scenarios where they could be fall hazards.
Yeah. Oh, many. Stairs. If your washer and dryer are in the basement and you can't get up and downstairs, there's a whole host of things. Are your floors slippery? Do you need different floor coverings? Do you have enough light in your house? Because our eyes tend to fail as we get older. There are so many things to consider, and the whole idea is to keep you safe as
Yeah.
you grow older. And that's what the Silver Spaces Senior Home Safety Assessment does. It
Yeah.
allows you to identify risks,
Mhm.
and we produce a report to give you ideas on how to modify those.
So tell us about your wonderful program called Silver Spaces for our audience.
Silver Spaces was created basically to identify risks in the home, as I said, and we provide, based on the answers to the question, it's an electronic checklist, basically. And based on the answers to those questions, we give specific targeted modification strategies.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if you have ceramic tile in your bathroom, very slippery surface. So
Mm-hmm.
our recommendation might be you need to paint a non-slip coating on this floor, or you need to replace it with a non-slip type of flooring. And you can go, there are 18 areas. You can do as many rooms as you want or as few as you want, interior, exterior. We do office, den, everything you can think of. And the whole purpose is to identify safety risks in your home and provide you with strategies to remove or reduce those risks.
And obviously, when you're talking about staying at home, you have to take in consideration that a lot of things you mentioned, but it's like, I know I have arthritis in my hands. I'm already realizing that there's things that I can't do. Like I have to have a special apparatus to help me open jars and things like that, because I don't have this grip in my hands. But there's even doorknobs situations that you raise awareness to, because a lot of times as your hands get bad, that can happen.
That's one of them. I teach a class to PT students every year, a doctoral class, and I tell them to put a tennis ball in their hands because that's what it's like to try and turn a doorknob with arthritis.
Yes.
Or to turn a faucet with knobs, which is why we recommend lever handles, both for your cabinetry and your doors. To relieve that, you then have a flat hand and you can open and close it much easier.
Yeah. And certainly, stairwells are a consideration, washer dryer in the basement, all those things are contributing factors to is this a good place for me to age? And those are the questions I think that people don't ask enough, and they get emotionally attached to maybe because they still live there. I'm not saying that they can't continue to live there, but it may be better to do some modifications so they can.
And that's true. And the thing is, we live in our homes and our lifestyle and our health and our behaviors change, but our home doesn't. So our home may no longer match our abilities. We may start shuffling, which means that 3-inch pile carpet is not an appropriate surface for you to be walking on.
Right. And obviously, throw rugs can be a trip hazard. Cords running across the, in an area where you're walking. I even know like knickknacks, too many knickknacks. If something falls off of a mantle of a fireplace or something like that, that can be a trip hazard too. I know I've even found myself, I have dogs and dog toys. Every once in a while, I'll step on a dog toy and I'll go, oh my gosh, but that could be hazardous. We just don't think about all the different things that we deal with every day.
And some of it is clutter. We get used to having clutter around us if we're that kind of, that's the way we're used to living. But then that makes paths from room to room a lot more difficult to navigate. So things that just seem so simple can really become complex. And that's why this issue of aging in place is not a simple one.
No, it's not. And it's different for every single person. And I think certainly having these conversations as we are thinking about aging, and I know primarily our audience is over 50. So if you're listening to this program, think about the future. And Dr. Jill, we're going to have all kinds of tips and different things through the month. You're going to have a lot of information for us as you share just so much of your knowledge. But in the meantime, you have a website that people can get more information on. Tell us about how do we find Silver Spaces?
Silverspaces.com.
Fabulous. That's really easy. And we're going to come back in the next segment and we're going to talk about, how to make the decisions moving forward, looking ahead in the future, all the things that we've been talking about. And in the meantime, you can reach Dr. Jill. Again, the website is www.silverspaces.com. And Dr. Jill, thanks so much. And we'll be right back right after this.
We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.